She thought he was gone forever, that the man who shattered her heart and left her with nothing would never return. But then a mysterious letter arrives, a secret unfolds, and suddenly the past isn't buried at all. Who is watching her? What truth has been hidden all these years? And most importantly, can love survive when betrayal still lingers in the shadows? Hi, beautiful souls. I'm your storyteller, James. Before we dive into this roller coaster of love, betrayal, and secrets, make sure you subscribe and support the channel. Your support isn't just for me, it's for all of us, for every story we bring to life together. Without you, these tales would remain untold. Now, let's begin. The city of New York never slept, but tonight the lights felt colder. The sky was painted in silver and rain. Thunder rumbled like a warning. Ethan Blackwood stood in front of floor-to-ceiling windows. The entire skyline bowed beneath him. He loved that power. Control, precision, discipline. God forbid anything mess with his order. His reflection stared back, sharp jawline, steel-blue eyes. Those eyes rarely softened for anyone. He believed emotions were liabilities. He believed attachments were chains. At least, that's what he told himself. Behind him, the penthouse hummed with quiet luxury. Marble floors, crystal decanter, a piano he never touched anymore. And on the couch, Maya Johnson, the woman who ruined his rules without even trying. Her presence warmed the room. Warm brown skin glowing under soft light. Eyes full of passion and silent storms, an architect with dreams bigger than the city itself. She stood, nervous. Her heartbeat echoed in the silence. Every time she looked at Ethan, she felt intensity and danger. He wasn't safe, but he felt like home. "Maya," Ethan began, voice low, a warning tone. That tone always came before he shut down. She approached him slowly. Her hands trembled. Something in his expression was wrong. "You've been distant for weeks," she whispered. Her voice cracked. "I deserve to know why." Ethan didn't move, didn't blink. His jaw tightened. His world was a fortress, and she was trying to enter. Rain pounded harder against the windows. Lightning flashed behind him. "Maya," he said again, softer this time. Her name tasted like regret. She closed the distance between them, reaching for his hand. He stepped back. Her chest hollowed. "What did I do wrong?" she breathed. He turned away, fingers curling into fists. He felt everything. He showed nothing. The rain blurred the glass, just like her vision blurred with tears. "Talk to me," she insisted. "This isn't you." He laughed once, bitter, empty. "This is exactly who I am." Her throat tightened. She had shared so much with him. Late-night confessions, secret rendezvous, dreams whispered into darkness. He made her feel chosen, seen, loved. But tonight his eyes were glaciers. "You're overthinking," he said. His tone was dismissive, cold. She shook her head, tears threatening. "It's more than that, Ethan. I can feel it. You're pushing me out." He turned, finally facing her. Emotion flickered in his eyes, quickly extinguished. "Maya," he said, voice clipped. "This, whatever this was." He paused, searching for words sharp enough to cut. "It was temporary." Her breath caught. "Temporary." He nodded once, like a verdict. "I don't do love." She stepped closer, defiant. "You did. With me." He swallowed hard. He could still taste her kiss, still hear her laughter, but feelings were dangerous. Feelings made him weak. "You misread everything," he said. His voice was ice. Maya's hands fell to her sides. "You're lying." He turned his back to her. That hurt more than any words. "I have responsibilities," he said. "A reputation. A world that doesn't allow distractions. Distraction. That's what she was to him." Her lips trembled. "I gave you my trust." He didn't turn, didn't soften. "You were just an indulgence." Her heart cracked, slow, painful. A mistake, he added. Final. Brutal. Silence scattered through the penthouse like broken glass. She blinked, tears falling freely now. You looked at me like I mattered. He poured himself a drink, refusing to face her. You mattered for the moment. She took a step back. Her knees trembled. You loved me, she whispered. He exhaled slowly, then delivered the final blow. I never loved you. Her soul shattered. She pressed a hand to her chest as if that could stop the pain. All those nights, all those promises, all those kisses. Lies. Maya swallowed a sob. You don't even hear yourself. He kept staring at his drink, cold, unmoved. I don't owe you anything, he said. She did not recognize this man. I hope someday, she whispered, voice shaking, you realize what you just threw away. She grabbed her coat. Her vision blurred. A tear dropped onto the marble. As she walked toward the elevator, her steps echoed like falling memories. Ethan didn't look up, not even once. The elevator doors opened. She turned, one last time. He stood motionless, staring into his glass as if it could numb him, as if losing her didn't matter. Her voice was broken. You'll regret this. He lifted his drink without turning. I don't regret anything. The doors closed. The sound was final, cold, irreversible. The moment she left, silence swallowed the penthouse. Only then did Ethan look up. His jaw clenched. His eyes flickered with something raw, something dangerously close to grief. He touched the glass where she once stood. Regret cracked through him like lightning, but he refused to admit it. Feelings were weakness. Weakness destroyed empires. He forced himself to breathe. She'll move on, he said to the empty room. I'll forget her. He was lying to himself. He poured another drink, glass trembling in his hand. Outside, the rain kept falling. Merciless, unforgiving. Across the city, Maya stumbled into her apartment. Her chest ached. Her world unraveled. She slid down the wall, sobbing. Her tears soaked her hands. Her heart screamed his name. But her mind whispered the truth. He chose power. He chose pride. He chose anything, everything over her. Minutes passed. Hours blurred. Her stomach twisted sharply. Not heartbreak. Pain. A sudden wave of dizziness hit her. She pressed a hand to her mouth. Something was wrong. Her breathing grew shallow. Her skin turned pale. Nausea surged. Her hands trembled. What's happening? To me, she whispered. The room spun. Her vision went black. A faint realization flickered through the darkness. This wasn't heartbreak. Something inside her had changed. Something new. Maya woke to silence. Not the silence of peace. The silence that follows destruction. Her head throbbed. The cold bathroom tiles pressed against her cheek. A faint taste of salt lingered on her lips. Dried tears. She pushed herself up slowly. Her body felt foreign, heavy in strange places. Her hands trembled as she reached the sink. Her reflection stared back, eyes swollen from crying, hair tangled from restless nights. A woman who used to glow, now dimmed. She splashed cold water on her face, but nothing washed away the ache. A sudden nausea rolled through her again, sharp, unexpected, different from any sadness she'd known. Her fingers dug into the counter. A breath escaped her, shaky and thin. This isn't heartbreak, she whispered to herself. Her voice sounded like a stranger's. Whatever her body was trying to tell her, it demanded to be heard. Hours blurred, days slipped by. She moved, but not really. She ate, but tasted nothing. She slept, but never rested. The city crowded her thoughts. Every street corner reminded her of him. Every building held a memory. So she quit the firm. No notice. No explanations. Her resignation email was 3 words long. I can't stay. She packed her life into a single suitcase. Minimal. Final. Standing at the airport, she stared at the departure board. Anywhere but here. Anywhere that didn't smell like Ethan, money, ambition, danger, heartbreak. A small coastal village in California caught her eye. Population tiny, no skyscrapers, no memories. Perfect. When she arrived, the village welcomed her with salt air. Waves crashed like thunder, yet soothed her more than silence ever had. The ocean didn't ask questions, it just existed, and let her exist alongside it. Days passed in quiet routines. She found a room above a little cafe, with creaking wooden floors and windows that opened to the sea. Each morning she walked along the shoreline, sand beneath her feet, wind in her hair. The ocean pulling her forward as if telling her, keep going. One afternoon she wandered into a flower shop. Golden afternoon light spilled through stained windows. The place smelled of roses and lavender. Behind the counter stood Elena, an elderly woman with soft silver curls and a gaze that read people like open books. You look like you came here to breathe, Elena said gently. Maya's throat tightened. She nodded. Elena smiled and handed her a flower, a small white lily. For healing, she whispered. That was the first time Maya felt something loosen in her chest. Days turned into weeks. She kept coming back, at first just to smell the flowers, touch soft petals, lose herself in color. Soon Elena offered her part-time work. No interviews, just trust. Maya spent hours arranging bouquets, pouring her emotions into delicate creations. Tears sometimes fell onto the stems. Elena never asked why. She simply placed a warm hand over Maya's and said, flowers bloom after storms, too. Nights remained hard, but the days, they gave her somewhere to put the pain. Then came the morning that changed everything. The sun shimmered over the waves. The flower shop smelled like jasmine and freshly cut eucalyptus. But Maya sat in the bathroom, a thin stick clutched in trembling fingers. Her heart pounded, her vision blurred. Two lines, two unmistakable lines. She blinked, thinking her grief was messing with her. But the lines stayed. Her breath left her in a broken sound. Twins. She didn't need a doctor to confirm it. The test said enough. A hand covered her mouth as if the world might shatter if she made a sound. Her knees buckled. She sank onto the bathroom floor, clutching the test. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. She remembered Ethan's voice, cold, merciless. You were just a mistake. A life grew inside her, born from that love he denied. Two tiny miracles. Her tears dripped onto the test. Fear and joy collided violently. How am I supposed to do this alone? She whispered into the empty room. But then, a flutter of instinct. A surge of fierce protectiveness. These babies were hers, hers to love, hers to protect. She laid a palm over her stomach. You'll have a mother who chooses you. Her voice steadied into something strong. You'll never beg for love. You'll never feel unwanted. I'll love you enough for both. For the first time in months, her heart beat for something other than pain. Days became brighter. She woke with purpose. She worked with softness. She smiled sometimes without realizing. Elena noticed. You have a secret, she teased one morning. Maya blushed, touching her stomach. Two secrets, actually. Elena's eyes widened, then sparkled with happiness. You're going to be a wonderful mother. Maya finally believed that. Weeks later, the flower shop bell chimed. Maya wiped her hands on her apron and turned toward the door. A small envelope sat on the counter. No customer in sight, no footsteps leaving. Just the envelope. Her name scribbled in unfamiliar handwriting. Her heart skipped. She looked toward the street. Empty. Her fingers shook as she opened it. A photo fell into her palm. Glossy, fresh. Ethan at a gala, dressed in a sharp suit, smiling for the cameras, eyes bright and alive. He looked untouched by heartbreak, untouched by loss, as if she never existed. Her throat tightened, then she flipped the photo over. 4 words scratched in messy black ink. "He's not who you think he is." Her blood ran cold. Someone knew about him, and they were watching. The shop door rattled gently from a passing breeze, but Maya suddenly felt watched, hunted, exposed. Her fingers tightened around the photo. The room tilted slightly. Her breathing faltered. Elena's voice echoed from the back room. "Everything all right out there?" But Maya couldn't answer, because the handwriting on that photo wasn't just a warning. It was a threat. Whoever left that letter knew where she worked, knew where she lived, knew her secret. The door of the flower shop clicked shut behind Maya. The bell chimed softly, a gentle farewell. The street was quiet, wrapped in the hush of evening. Her hands rubbed her belly instinctively. The twins shifted like they sensed her unease. A whisper of cold wind brushed against her neck. She turned. Nothing. Just the faint shimmer of streetlights bouncing off the pavement. Her fingers tightened around her keys. Her heart thudded faster. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, exhaled slowly, told herself she was overreacting. But across the street, half hidden beneath a flickering lamp, someone watched, still, unmoving, like they were carved out of the night. Their phone screen lit up. A low voice murmured, "She's here. What now?" Maya never heard the words. Miles away, in New York, Ethan Knight stood before a wall of glass. The night skyline glittered beneath him, a kingdom of wealth and power. Skyscrapers bowed to his success, champagne deals, multi-million-dollar mergers, everything he ever wanted. Except her. He loosened his tie with a frustrated yank. He hadn't slept in days. His jaw was clenched so tight it hurt. He tapped a pen against the glossy contract on his desk. The numbers blurred together. His focus shattered. "I did what I had to," he whispered into the empty room. But the lie tasted like iron in his mouth. His penthouse, once a symbol of victory, now felt like a cage. Cold, silent, too big without her warmth. The memory of Jasmine drifted through his mind, a scent that had once lived against his pillow, a scent that had faded long before she walked out that door. He closed his eyes. And she was there, Maya, laughing as sunlight spilled in through his penthouse windows. Bare feet on marble floors, brown cheeks flushed with joy. He swallowed hard. His reflection in the glass stared back at him. Sharp suit, sharp eyes. But Maya sat in the bathroom, a thin stick clutched in trembling fingers. Her heart pounded, her vision blurred. 2 lines, 2 unmistakable lines. She blinked, thinking her grief was messing with her. But the lines stayed. Her breath left her in a broken sound. Twins. She didn't need a doctor to confirm it. The test said enough. A hand covered her mouth as if the world might shatter if she made a sound. Her knees buckled. She sank onto the bathroom floor, clutching the test. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. She remembered Ethan's voice, cold, merciless. "You were just a mistake." A life grew inside her, born from that love he denied. 2 tiny miracles. Her tears dripped onto the test. Fear and joy collided violently. "How am I supposed to do this alone?" she whispered into the empty room. But then, a flutter of instinct. A surge of fierce protectiveness. These babies were hers, hers to love, hers to protect. She laid a palm over her stomach. "You'll have a mother who chooses you." Her voice steadied into something strong. "You'll never beg for love. You'll never feel unwanted. I'll love you enough for both." For the first time in months, her heart beat for something other than pain. Days became brighter. She woke with purpose. She worked with softness. She smiled sometimes without realizing. Elena noticed. You have a secret, she teased one morning. Maya blushed, touching her stomach. Two secrets, actually. Elena's eyes widened, then sparkled with happiness. You're going to be a wonderful mother. Maya finally believed that. Weeks later, the flower shop bell chimed. Maya wiped her hands on her apron and turned toward the door. A small envelope sat on the counter. No customer in sight, no footsteps leaving. Just the envelope. Her name scribbled in unfamiliar handwriting. Her heart skipped. She looked toward the street. Empty. Her fingers shook as she opened it. A photo fell into her palm. Glossy. Fresh. Ethan at a gala, dressed in a sharp suit, smiling for the cameras, eyes bright and alive. He looked untouched by heartbreak, untouched by loss, as if she never existed. Her throat tightened, then she flipped the photo over. 4 words scratched in messy black ink. He's not who you think he is. Her blood ran cold. Someone knew about her, about him, and they were watching. The shop door rattled gently from a passing breeze, but Maya suddenly felt watched, hunted, exposed. Her fingers tightened around the photo. The room tilted slightly. Her breathing faltered. Elena's voice echoed from the back room. Everything all right out there? But Maya couldn't answer, because the handwriting on that photo wasn't just a warning. It was a threat. Whoever left that letter knew where she worked, knew where she lived, knew her secret. The door of the flower shop clicked shut behind Maya. The bell chimed softly, a gentle farewell. The street was quiet, wrapped in the hush of evening. Her hands rubbed her belly instinctively. The twins shifted like they sensed her unease. A whisper of cold wind brushed against her neck. She turned. Nothing. Just the faint shimmer of streetlights bouncing off the pavement. Her fingers tightened around her keys. Her heart thudded faster. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, exhaled slowly, told herself she was overreacting. But across the street, half hidden beneath a flickering lamp, someone watched, still, unmoving, like they were carved out of the night. Their phone screen lit up. A low voice murmured, "She's here." What now? Maya never heard the words. Miles away, in New York, Ethan Knight stood before a wall of glass. The night skyline glittered beneath him, a kingdom of wealth and power. Skyscrapers bowed to his success, champagne deals, multi-million-dollar mergers, everything he ever wanted. Except her. He loosened his tie with a frustrated yank. He hadn't slept in days. His jaw was clenched so tight it hurt. He tapped a pen against the glossy contract on his desk. The numbers blurred together. His focus shattered. "I did what I had to," he whispered into the empty room. But the lie tasted like iron in his mouth. His penthouse, once a symbol of victory, now felt like a cage. Cold, silent, too big without her warmth. The memory of Jasmine drifted through his mind, a scent that had once lived against his pillow, a scent that had faded long before she walked out that door. He closed his eyes. And she was there, Maya, laughing as sunlight spilled in through his penthouse windows. Bare feet on marble floors, brown cheeks flushed with joy. He swallowed hard. His reflection in the glass stared back at him. Sharp suit, sharp eyes, emotionless. But he saw the truth behind the facade, a man haunted, a man who pushed away the only person who ever saw him as more than a CEO. He dropped into his leather chair, exhaustion slamming into him. The city glittered outside, millions of lights. But inside him, darkness. His phone buzzed. He grabbed it, desperate for distraction. The message was short, chilling. "You lost something. But I found her." His blood ran cold. He stood up so fast the chair rolled back. A second message followed. "The twins are real." His heart slammed against his ribs. Twins? His eyes scanned the screen again, breath shallow. No, he muttered. It's a lie, a trap. But doubt drilled into him. He reached for a locked drawer, pulled out a file, photos, reports, snapshots of her life after she left. Maya in front of a flower shop. Maya holding her belly. Maya smiling at a bouquet of yellow roses. His throat tightened. He traced her image with his thumb. She moved on, he whispered. But why didn't you call me? He knew exactly why. Because he broke her first. He slammed the drawer shut. He grabbed his jacket, his keys. He needed answers. Back in the coastal village, Maya walked home along the empty street. Her pace quickened. The night felt too still. She passed a dark alley and froze. A gust of wind rattled a trash bin. Her breath caught. You're safe, she reminded herself. You left all that behind. But instinct never lies. Her steps hurried. Her pulse raced. Every shadow felt alive. At the corner, streetlight flickered overhead. She looked back. No one. Just the whisper of ocean waves in the distance. She breathed out, long and shaky, trying to calm the storm inside her. Maya, she jumped at the sudden voice. Elena stood at the flower shop door, holding a forgotten sweater. You left this, Elena called softly. Relief washed over Maya like warm rain. She forced a smile, accepting the sweater. Thank you, she whispered. Elena squeezed her arm. Go home. Rest. Stress isn't good for the babies. Maya nodded, but behind Elena, at the far end of the empty street, a silhouette stood motionless, watching. Across the country, Ethan stepped into his private elevator. His jaw was set with purpose. Maya, he breathed, a name he hadn't allowed himself to say. The elevator doors closed. Metal swallowed the sound. As Maya reached her front door, a single envelope lay on the welcome mat. Her blood froze. No name, no return address. Only 4 words written in bold ink. He's coming for you. Rain hammered against the shop windows as Maya locked the door for the night. The storm outside was violent, but nothing compared to the storm inside her. She slipped the final key into the lock, the sound echoing through the empty street. Her heart still pounded with the weight of the anonymous note she'd found earlier. He's coming for you. Was it a warning or a threat? Maya pulled her coat tighter around herself and walked toward her little cottage, the wind nearly pushing her back. Branches thrashed overhead, lightning tearing open the sky with sharp white streaks. Inside, the twins slept soundly, their breaths soft and trusting. She paused at their door, watching Aiden curled around his stuffed fox and Liam with his tiny fist tucked under his cheek. She brushed their curls gently. You're safe, she whispered, though she didn't fully believe it. After checking every window twice, she headed to her room, searching through boxes for an old notebook. Instead, her fingers brushed something cold and smooth. A necklace. Her breath caught in her throat. It was his. The necklace Ethan had once clasped around her neck during an evening in New York. She remembered that night, his hands trembling slightly, the city lights reflecting off the delicate silver locket. He'd whispered, "Keep this. No matter where life takes us, this stays with you." She had forgotten this existed, or maybe she had forced herself to forget. Her fingers shook as she opened the locket. Inside there was a tiny photo, a candid shot Ethan had taken of her laughing, unaware she was being photographed. Her heart clenched painfully. Lightning flashed, illuminating the room. The phone rang. She froze. The storm swallowed most outside noise, but the phone cut through it like a blade. The caller ID was hidden. Unknown number. She hesitated, pulse thundering in her ears, then answered. Hello? Silence, only a slow exhale. Someone was there, listening. Who is this? She demanded, voice trembling. Still nothing, just steady, controlled breathing. Her skin prickled. She gripped the phone tighter. If you think you can scare me. A faint click. The line went dead. Maya's hand went numb holding the silent phone. She hugged her arms around herself and whispered to the empty room, "Leave us alone, please." But peace was not on tonight's agenda. 3 years earlier, Ethan Blackwood stood in a ballroom full of glittering chandeliers and expensive laughter, but felt like an outsider at his own celebration. CEOs shook his hand, offering hollow congratulations. Champagne flowed, cameras flashed, and reporters circled like vultures, waiting to feed on his success. Yet all Ethan could think of was a woman with warm brown skin and a laugh that used to unfurl in his chest like a sunrise. The orchestra played a romantic waltz. The crowd swayed. He felt nothing. He excused himself and slipped into a hallway lined with mirrors. His reflection stared back at him, impeccably dressed, flawless suit, powerful posture. But his eyes gave him away. Cold, empty, haunted. He leaned his hands against the marble counter of the washroom, bracing himself. "You made the right decision," he muttered into the silence. But even he didn't believe it, because the moment he closed his eyes, she returned. Maya's laughter, her head thrown back as she teased him for being too serious, her fingers tracing designs on his wrist, absent-mindedly while she sketched. That softness had been his safe place. Now, guilt gnawed at him like an infection he couldn't cure. He'd tried dating, models, entrepreneurs, women who carried themselves like trophies instead of humans, but they were mirrors of his world, polished, cold, transactional. None of them smelled faintly of jasmine and rain. Later that night, he found himself at the grand piano in his penthouse, the city sprawling beneath the tall glass windows. His fingers hovered above the keys. He didn't know what he wanted to play. He only knew who he was thinking of. When he finally pressed the first note, the melody spilled from him like confession. The sound aching, raw, nothing like the man everyone believed he was. Every keystroke was a memory. The song wasn't music, it was regret. And somewhere between the notes he whispered into the darkness, "What have I done?" Meanwhile, on the quiet coast, life moved differently. Maya's mornings began with the salty breeze drifting through the windows, the sounds of seagulls calling from the shore. The flower shop door chimed with customers, locals who adored her arrangements, visitors who admired her warmth. The twins had grown into walking storms of energy. Aiden raced across sandy paths, fearless and curious. Liam was gentler, often stopping to examine seashells, whispering secrets to them. They had Ethan's piercing blue eyes. Every time Maya looked into those eyes, her chest tightened. She did not allow herself to think of the source. Life here was peaceful, yes, but peace didn't erase shadows. Maya often found herself awake long after the boys slept, listening to the ocean crash beyond the cliffs. She sketched designs, houses, bridges, structures she knew she'd never build. On those nights, doubt crept in. Had Ethan's betrayal truly been his choice? The letters claimed otherwise. They spoke of a father who controlled his actions, a powerful man who viewed emotions as liabilities. Was Ethan a puppet or the puppeteer? She had burned every letter, but ashes held memory, and sometimes memory burns hotter than fire. Back in the penthouse, Ethan tried to bury the past under deals and power meetings. Even success tasted like ash. His employees feared him, investors admired him, and yet no one truly saw him. One night, Ethan made a reckless decision. He hired a private investigator just to know where Maya was, if she was safe, if she ever thought of him. Days later, the report came back. No trace. She had disappeared as though she had never existed. A fresh stab of panic tore through him. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt powerless. He slammed the report onto his desk. "Find her," he growled to the investigator. "It's like she vanished," the man replied. "Almost like someone made sure she couldn't be found." Someone, not her. Someone. Ethan's pulse hammered. Who would want to erase her? Back in the coastal village, Maya sat on her bed. The necklace glimmered in her palm, catching the stormlight. Suddenly, a crash from downstairs. Her heartbeat stuttered. She rushed down the hall, careful not to wake the twins. She gripped a vase from the table like a weapon and edged toward the window. A dark silhouette stood outside, unmoving, watching. Another phone vibration rattled the quiet house. The same unknown number. Her throat dried. She backed away slowly, clutching the necklace tightly as if it could shield her from whatever threat lurked outside. Lightning illuminated the figure, but before she could react, they stepped back into the shadows. Gone. Maya locked the windows, every nerve in her body alive with fear. She returned to the twins' room, watching them sleep peacefully, unaware of the storm in their mother's chest. She whispered into the darkness, "Who are you, and what do you want from us?" As thunder crashed overhead, the phone vibrated again. A message appeared on the screen. "He knows about the twins." Maya's hands tightened around the necklace. Rain still dripped from her hair, but her mind was elsewhere, anchored in fear, worry, and fragments of a past she thought she had buried. She imagined someone standing in the shadows, watching every step, calculating every move. Her chest felt like it might collapse under the weight. Aiden rolled over in his sleep, murmuring her name. Liam stretched and yawned, tiny arms reaching up for warmth. Maya bent over them, brushing their curls gently, forcing herself to take a steadying breath. They can't know. I have to protect them. The storm outside rattled the windows. Lightning flashed, illuminating the darkened streets. And in that light, she thought she saw movement, a shadow that dissolved before she could pinpoint it. She backed away from the window, heart hammering, and went to the counter, scanning the room for anything out of place. Nothing, yet the feeling persisted. She replayed the words from the message over and over. He knows about the twins. Her stomach churned violently. Who knew? How could anyone know? Far away, Ethan's world was collapsing in slow motion. Marcus, his business partner, had cornered him in the glass-walled office. "You're unraveling, man," Marcus said. His voice was calm, professional, but tinged with concern. "Ever since that woman left, nothing's the same," Ethan snapped. The words struck too close to the truth. He tried to mask it, clenched his jaw, forced a laugh, but inside his chest burned. His soul ached with regret. He could not escape the image of her. Maya. Then his laptop pinged. A cryptic email appeared in his inbox. No sender, no name, only a line. "A past mistake is coming back to haunt you." Paranoia gripped him. Was this his father? A jealous rival? Someone from the Empire trying to manipulate him again? The city felt smaller suddenly, suffocating. He closed the laptop with a sharp slam. He needed distance, air, perspective. The coast called to him. The salty breeze, the endless waves, the town that had once cradled their laughter and heartbreak. He couldn't resist. Ethan booked a flight immediately. Meanwhile, Maya's life hummed with routine. The twins were a whirlwind of energy and curiosity. Aiden, bold, adventurous, always first to test boundaries. Liam, gentle, introspective, the quiet observer. They were pieces of Ethan she tried not to see in herself. Elena noticed the change in Maya's demeanor. "Something's troubling you, dear," she said softly. Maya hesitated, but eventually confided in her about the letters, about the fear that someone was watching, threatening them. Elena's eyes widened. "Blackmail," she whispered, her tone cautious yet grave. Maya shivered at the possibility. Her instinct screamed, "This is bigger than us. Someone is plotting something dangerous." Evening fell. Maya walked home from the flower shop, the twins safely tucked in the care of Elena for a late delivery. Her mind was elsewhere, racing, weighing every possibility. She felt it again. Eyes. The same shadow from before. The figure vanished into the fog before she could confront it. Her pulse spiked. Her hands shook. She quickened her pace. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, a stray cat, the distant crash of waves, made her jump. The town felt strangely alien now. Every corner seemed to hide a secret, every street a potential trap. Across the country, Ethan's flight landed. The salty air hit him first, sharp and intoxicating. The village hadn't changed. The same cliffs, the same cottages, the same familiar scents mingling with the ocean breeze. And yet, everything felt different, empty, incomplete. He walked through the town, the old memories tugging at his chest. Every step brought him closer to her, closer to the one person who had haunted him for years. Maya, unaware, returned to her shop the next morning. The twins played quietly by the counter. She arranged flowers, trying to focus, trying to convince herself that fear would not rule her life. The door chimed. A customer. But it wasn't a customer. Ethan stepped in. The world seemed to pause. The scent of rain on leather, the faint echo of a piano somewhere far away, it all converged as their eyes met. Time froze. Her chest tightened. Her hands went limp around the bouquet she was holding. She whispered, barely audible, "You," and everything went black. Her knees buckled. Her body crumpled. Ethan caught her, strong arms surrounding her. For a moment, the storm outside felt insignificant compared to the whirlwind inside the shop. Maya's eyes fluttered open in Ethan's arms. Somewhere outside, the fog thickened, swallowing the streets of the village, and a shadow lingered, watching the reunion with deliberate patience. Someone was still playing a dangerous game, and this time the stakes were higher than ever. Ethan's arms tightened around her as she slumped, her weight pressing into him like a sudden tide. The world shrank to the space between them, the faint scent of jasmine, the warmth of her skin, the tremor of her breath. He lowered her gently to a nearby chair, still holding her hand as if letting go would make her disappear entirely. Her eyelids flickered, but the storm of emotions inside her kept her from waking fully. Ethan's chest heaved, his mind racing. Every memory, every stolen moment they had shared, crashed back with unrelenting force. "I should have never let you go," he whispered, voice thick with regret. "I was wrong, Maya. Her lashes fluttered again. A shiver ran through her body. He brushed damp hair from her face, catching the faint glimmer of tears threatening to escape. "Maya, look at me," he urged softly. She hesitated, eyes half closed, amber-brown warmth glowing beneath storm lighting from the shop window. Her lips parted. "You. Why?" He paused, guilt clawing at him. "I didn't want to hurt you," he admitted. "But I had to leave. My life, my family. They forced my hand." Her gaze sharpened, fire flashed in her eyes, even in her weakened state. "You left," she whispered, voice trembling with anger and hurt. "You didn't leave. You abandoned me." Ethan flinched, the words piercing deeper than any blade. "I thought I had no choice," he said, voice breaking. "Every day since. Every moment without you has been hell." She looked away, biting her lip. Pain and love intertwined in her gaze, confusing them both. The twins' faces flashed in her mind, Aiden, daring and lively, Liam, quiet and observing, their innocence a reminder of the life she had built without him. Her chest tightened with the knowledge that her heart was still vulnerable, still aching for the man who had hurt her. Ethan studied her, trying to memorize every curve of her face, every expression he feared might vanish again. The shop smelled of roses, rain, and old wood. A single beam of sunlight broke through the clouds outside, catching on a petal and illuminating the small space around them. "I came here for a project," he said, finally explaining, though the words sounded weak even to his own ears. It's a construction plan for the coast. But seeing you, this isn't part of any plan. Maya's lips pressed together, her hands clasping together in her lap. Coincidence doesn't feel like coincidence, she said sharply. Why are you here? To ruin me again? Ethan shook his head quickly, a pang of frustration laced with desperation. No, he said, voice urgent. I would never come here to hurt you. I just... Her eyes softened briefly, then flared with doubt. Your family, she said, her voice low. Did they... He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. They tried, he admitted, but I wasn't complicit in anything that would hurt you. I swear it. Everything that happened before was forced. The words hung in the air, mingling with the scent of rain and roses. Maya drew in a shaky breath, hugging herself. Her mind reeled, confusion, anger, longing, distrust. Every emotion warred with the others, leaving her dizzy. Ethan caught sight of movement outside the shop window. Two small boys were playing along the cobblestone path, laughing freely. Blue eyes like mirrors, reflecting a fragment of him he had never seen before. The twins. His heart clenched painfully. Maya's gaze followed his. Her hands went instinctively to her belly before she remembered. They were safe, small hands asleep in the next room. She looked back at him, wary but shaken. What are you doing here? She whispered again. I came to see you, he said simply, because I can't not see you. Not anymore. Her body shivered, torn between the love that had never left and the betrayal that had once shattered her world. She hugged herself tighter, her thoughts racing. Can I trust him? Does he really care? Or is this another mistake waiting to happen? Later that evening, Maya returned to her home. The twins slept peacefully, unaware of the tension simmering in their mother's mind. A letter sat on the kitchen counter, stark and ominous. She opened it with trembling hands. He knows now. Beware the truth. Her chest constricted. The words sent a shiver down her spine. She pressed the letter to her lips, whispering softly, Who is trying to control our lives? The necklace Ethan had left with her glimmered faintly in the lamplight, a reminder of love, hope, and the danger that still lingered. She clutched it tightly, as if it could shield her from the storm outside and from the storms yet to come. Ethan returned to his hotel that night, exhausted and restless. His mind refused sleep, racing through every possibility, every threat, every mistake he had ever made. When he entered his suite, something caught his eye on the bed. A dossier. It had no sender, no explanation. The cover was sleek, professional, and ominous. He opened it carefully. Inside were pages filled with photos, documents, and DNA hints, proof linking Maya and the twins to him. Every detail meticulously compiled, every photograph carefully selected. A cold shiver ran down his spine. Who had placed this here? Who was watching them? And what game were they playing? His hands tightened around the papers. This wasn't just about past mistakes anymore. This was about survival and protection. The city lights outside his window twinkled, unaware of the storm brewing within. Ethan realized with growing dread someone powerful, someone precise, was orchestrating every step, every move. He pressed his forehead to the dossier, feeling the weight of responsibility crush him. The stakes were higher than ever, the threat closer than he had imagined. A soft knock echoed through the hotel suite. Ethan froze. No one should know he was here. No one. The doorknob rattled, slowly, deliberately, and a single note slid under the door. With trembling fingers, he picked it up. 4 chilling words were scrawled in bold ink. She is already mine. Ethan's fingers crushed the note until the edges curled. His eyes burned with controlled fury. Somebody was watching Maya and the twins, and the threat wasn't vague. It was deliberate, personal, targeted. The words echoed in his head. She is already mine. Mine. Who dared claim her like she was a possession, a prize to be taken? He grabbed his coat and keys. No hesitation, no second thought. He had to get to her. Now. The village streets were slick with rain. Street lamps cast long, ghostly shadows that seemed to stretch toward him, reaching, warning. Ethan's mind raced through every possibility. An old rival, a jealous associate, someone with access to both his corporate world and her quiet life. Every scenario ended with the same terrifying outcome. Maya and the twins were in danger. Maya, still shaken from the morning's lingering fear, was arranging roses in the shop when the bell above the door rang. Her pulse skipped. She turned, heart caught in her throat. Ethan stood there, so real, so impossible to reconcile with the pain and betrayal of the past. "I need answers," he said, voice sharp but trembling. "Are they mine?" Tears pricked her eyes as she nodded, the raw honesty of years gone unspoken. "You threw us away," she whispered, voice breaking, full of rage and hurt. Ethan closed the gap, the anger, the longing, the regret boiling to the surface. "You think I threw you away?" he asked, voice almost a growl. "You have no idea what I faced. What they forced me to do." Her eyes flared with fire, but beneath it flickered confusion. A part of her wanted to believe him. A part of her still burned with betrayal. Their argument escalated, words slicing sharper than any knife. Then, unexpectedly, the tension snapped into heat, passion flaring between the anger and longing. A kiss broke through the storm of emotions, old memories igniting like sparks in dry timber. Maya pushed him away suddenly, trembling. Her heart was a battlefield. Love and fury warred against each other. Trust had been shattered, and now it was fragile, raw, vulnerable. Ethan's gaze softened. "I won't leave you again," he promised. "I'll stay. I'll prove myself. Whatever it takes." Her chest tightened, uncertainty cutting deep. Could she allow herself to hope? Could she trust him after everything? The twins, sensing the tension in the air, peeked from behind a display. Aiden's small voice asked innocently, "Who's the sad man, Mommy?" Liam's eyes mirrored concern, tiny hands clutching at her dress. Maya knelt, hugging them tightly. Her heart both melted and broke. She whispered soft reassurances, hiding her own fears and confusion. Their innocence reminded her of what was at stake and what she could not afford to lose. The letters continued to arrive, now more cryptic than before. Some revealed pieces of Ethan's past. His engagement was a facade, orchestrated by his controlling family. Others hinted at rivals, enemies from both corporate and personal realms. One note, unsigned, suggested that someone with resources was meticulously tracking their every move. Ethan, tentatively building a bond with the twins, found moments of quiet wonder in their laughter. Aiden's daring energy, Liam's gentle curiosity. These were reflections of him he had never known he could love so fiercely. But danger always lingered. It haunted every step, every smile. One bright afternoon, Ethan took Maya and the twins for a walk along the beach. The sun sparkled on the waves, laughter blending with the cries of seagulls. For a fleeting moment, it felt like life could be simple, ordinary, free. Then came the screech of tires. A car swerved toward them on the narrow beach road, gravel spraying. Ethan's instincts kicked in before thought. He shielded the twins, pushing Maya behind him. The car sped past, leaving a wake of sand and fear. Maya gasped, clutching the twins close. "This isn't an accident," she cried, panic gripping her voice. "Who wants us dead?" Ethan's fists clenched, jaw tight. He scanned the horizon, searching for the vehicle, the driver, any sign. The air was thick with tension, salt, and fear. Every thought raced. Was this connected to the dossier? The letters? the shadow that had always lingered. He looked down at Maya, her eyes wide with terror, and the twins, oblivious to the full danger but sensing the tension. He swore silently. No one would harm them. No one would touch his family. Yet, in that instant, both knew this was only the beginning. The veils of deception had only just begun to lift, revealing shadows darker than they could have imagined. The rivalry, the jealousy, the power plays. It wasn't over. It was escalating. And they were all caught in the crossfire. As sirens wailed in the distance, the shadows behind the dunes shifted. A figure emerged, phone in hand, speaking softly into it. They survived this time, but not for long. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He tightened his grip on Maya and the twins, knowing the war for their safety had just entered a deadlier stage. Ethan held Maya and the twins tightly on the sand-strewn beach, his heart hammering, muscles coiled like steel. The car's roar faded behind them, leaving only the crashing waves and a silence that felt heavy with threat. Maya's eyes were wide with fear, tiny hands gripping Aiden and Liam close to her chest. Who would do this? She whispered, voice trembling, as if asking aloud might conjure more danger. Ethan scanned the horizon, searching for signs, anything to give him a clue. The dunes were empty, but he could feel the lingering presence of malice, calculated and patient. Somebody had orchestrated this, and they weren't finished. Back at the shop, the twins nestled into their mother's lap, oblivious to the storm outside, yet sensing the tension in the air. Ethan's eyes never left them. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down. He had failed once, and he would not fail again. He needed answers, clarity, and he needed it fast. Maya finally let out a shuddering breath. "We can't stay here," she said, voice steadying with determination. "Someone wants us gone. They'll come back." Ethan nodded, the gears in his mind already turning. He had seen similar threats in the business world, calculated, personal, designed to destabilize and intimidate. But this was different. This was about more than money. This was about them, his family. Later that evening, after tucking the twins into bed, Maya confronted him, eyes filled with both fear and anger. "Ethan, your father," she began, her voice trembling. "Did he force you to leave me? Did he plan all of this?" Ethan's jaw tightened, the truth pressing heavily against him. "Yes," he admitted, voice low. "My father, he demanded I end things with you, claiming you were unworthy, that you would ruin me. I believed him. I thought I had no choice. It was a lie." Maya's hands trembled as she pressed them to her chest. All the anger, the heartbreak, the years of questions, they collided into one sharp edge. "You let me go," she whispered. "You abandoned us, Ethan, and now—" His own chest ached. "I thought leaving was protecting you from him, from all of it. But I was a coward. I believed his manipulations, and in doing so, I hurt the one person I've ever loved." Tears streamed down Maya's face, the raw honesty cutting through layers of pain. "I don't know if I can believe you," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can forgive what you did." Ethan reached for her hands, holding them tightly. "Then let me show you," he said, eyes fierce with determination. "I'll protect you. I'll protect the twins. I'll expose anyone trying to hurt us. I won't leave. Not this time." She looked at him, searching for signs of deceit, for any hint that this was manipulation or another lie. But all she found was truth, the kind that hurt and healed at the same time. The next morning, Ethan returned to his penthouse with one goal: uncover every threat, every lie, every shadow that had been cast over their lives. The dossier, the letters, the threats, they were pieces of a puzzle he was determined to solve. Hours passed, documents piled high, phone calls made, connections traced, and slowly the outline emerged. His father had orchestrated the initial deception, but the current threats were not from him. Someone else, someone close to him yet outside his immediate family, had been manipulating events, staging accidents, sending letters, compiling dossiers, tracking their movements. The careful precision spoke of jealousy, power, and revenge. It was Ethan's half-brother, Adrian, born of the same father but always overshadowed by Ethan's success, always jealous of what he had. Adrian had the means, the cunning, and the obsession to orchestrate everything from behind the scenes. Every letter, every shadow, every car on the beach. It was Adrian's work. His goal: destroy Ethan's happiness, claim control over the family fortune, and assert dominance over everything Ethan had built. Ethan's chest tightened as he realized how close Adrian had come to succeeding. Maya and the twins had been in danger multiple times, and he hadn't known it. Not fully. Back in the village, Maya felt the weight of truth pressing down. Ethan explained everything slowly, carefully, every manipulation, every deception. The shock hit her in waves: anger, betrayal, disbelief. But beneath it all, she saw the same love that had once ignited her heart, the same devotion she had feared lost forever. The twins listened, too young to fully understand, yet their eyes reflected a trust they felt instinctively. Ethan bent to their level, gently holding their hands, promising safety, promising presence, promising love. For the first time in years, Maya allowed herself a sliver of relief. The danger was identified, and for the moment at least, they could breathe. But peace was fragile. The shadow of Adrian lingered. He had resources, influence, and a willingness to strike when least expected. Every step forward carried the threat of retaliation. Every smile, every laugh, every moment together could be disrupted by the meticulous planning of a man consumed by envy. Ethan vowed silently, no matter the cost, no matter the danger. He would dismantle Adrian's schemes piece by piece. He would confront him, protect his family, and reclaim their lives. Maya, holding Ethan's hand, felt the storm outside mirror the turbulence within. The ocean waves crashed against the shore, relentless and powerful, a reminder that life could change in an instant. And yet she felt the strength to face it, with Ethan beside her. Hours later, as the village slept, another letter appeared at the flower shop. No envelope, no signature, just a single line, sharp and cold. The twins aren't safe yet. Meet me at midnight, alone. Maya's hands trembled as she read it. Her chest tightened, every instinct screaming danger. She pressed the letter to her lips, her mind racing, her heart pounding. Ethan, unaware of this new development, was in the penthouse planning Adrian's downfall, believing for a moment that they had a reprieve. But danger had found them again, and it wasn't subtle, it was personal, and it demanded a confrontation. The clock ticked toward midnight. Maya's phone buzzed with an unknown number. She answered hesitantly, and a voice, cold and familiar, whispered, "Come alone, or they all die." Every instinct screamed for her to run, yet part of her knew she had to face this darkness. The veil of deception was lifting, and the truth, more dangerous than she could imagine, was waiting in the shadows. Maya's hand shook as she held the phone, her breath shallow. The voice on the line had vanished, leaving only silence and the echo of threat. "They all die." The words reverberated through her chest, each syllable a hammer striking her courage. She sank onto the couch, clutching the twins' blankets, eyes darting around the dimly lit shop. The shadows on the walls twisted and merged, shapes of danger in her mind's eye. Instinct took over. She knew she couldn't face this alone, not without help, not without planning, not without someone she trusted implicitly. Her thoughts turned immediately to Ethan. If he could protect them from a rival CEO, from her father's manipulations, from Adrian's schemes, he could protect them from this too. She dialed his number, hands trembling, heart hammering. The line clicked once, twice. Then, finally, his voice came through, tense and sharp. "Maya, what's— Ethan, they're back," she whispered, trying to steady her voice. "I got a call, a note. I don't know who—" He cut in, urgency flooding his tone. "I'm on my way. Don't go anywhere. Don't confront this alone. Understand?" She nodded, though he couldn't see her. "Understand," she murmured, pressing the phone to her ear as a lifeline. Within 30 minutes, Ethan was at the flower shop. He scanned the area with precision, his gaze sharp, calculating. The twins were safe, but the tension in the air told him danger hadn't left. They were merely inches from the storm. He crouched before them, offering warmth, reassurance, a shield against the fear they could not yet articulate. "Everything's fine," he said, voice steady and low. "Nothing will happen to you while I'm here. Promise." Aiden, sensing the weight of his words, pressed against Ethan's chest. Liam mirrored the gesture, little hands clutching at his jacket. Ethan's chest constricted. He had waited years for this, years to be a part of their lives, but now, standing in the shadow of threat, he realized just how fragile peace could be. Night fell, and Ethan and Maya developed a plan. Every corner of the village, every access point, every street was considered. They reviewed the dossier, cross-referencing addresses, vehicles, and any hint of Adrian's operatives. Suspicion hovered in the air, thick and suffocating, a storm threatening to break over their lives again. Ethan insisted on accompanying Maya to every errand, every walk, every moment outside the shop. He watched her as she moved, as she carried her life with fierce determination, as she tried to remain strong for the twins. The weight of his past mistakes pressed heavily on him. He could not falter again. Maya, despite fear, allowed him. A flicker of trust returned. It was hesitant, fragile, and yet it was there. Every shared glance, every whispered instruction, every protective gesture rebuilt the bridges burned years ago. Days turned into tense routines. Morning walks became reconnaissance. Grocery trips became tactical missions. The twins noticed the heightened energy, but only understood it as seriousness in Ethan's voice and caution in Maya's eyes. They laughed, played, and sometimes made Ethan and Maya forget the danger, just long enough to remember what normal life could feel like. Still, danger lurked. Adrian's influence was everywhere, subtle yet menacing. An anonymous car parked too long near the shop, letters left unsigned, threatening. A mysterious figure watching from across the street. Ethan refused to give up, combing every lead, following every shadow. He met with private investigators, traced digital footprints, analyzed phone records. He left no stone unturned, determined to end this once and for all. Maya watched him tirelessly, admiration and worry in equal measure. She saw the man she had loved, the man who had abandoned her, now entirely devoted to their safety. And yet she questioned every motive, every word, every touch. Trust had to be earned again, brick by brick, action by action. Together they traced the final threat to a former associate of Ethan's corporate empire, a man scorned and dangerous. The pieces clicked into place. The dossier, the letters, the surveillance, and the midnight threats all connected. This man was Adrian's ally, acting with cunning precision to destabilize Ethan and claim revenge for past slights. The confrontation came on a stormy night. Ethan, Maya, and a small team of trusted operatives located the associate's hideout. Lightning illuminated the warehouse in stark flashes, shadows stretching long and threatening. Every step was calculated, every sound was a possible trap. The tension was almost unbearable. Inside, the operative attempted to flee, but Ethan intercepted him. The struggle was tense, brutal, and precise. Threats were exchanged, fear flared, But Ethan's determination never wavered. He knew what was at stake: Maya, the twins, their life together. Failure was not an option. Maya, watching from a safe distance, felt the weight of adrenaline and fear. Every heartbeat, every gust of wind, every crack of lightning was a reminder of what they had lost and what they could lose again. When it was over, the operative neutralized and secured, Ethan returned to the twins. He held them close, tears of relief threatening to spill. Maya clung to him, exhausted, shaken, yet feeling the bonds of family, trust, and love strengthen again. The danger was not completely gone. Adrian remained a shadow, a specter still looming over their lives. But for the first time, victory felt possible, tangible. For the first time, they could imagine a future without constant fear. Ethan kissed Maya's forehead, his voice low, intimate. "We survived tonight. We can survive anything. Together." She nodded, finally letting some of the tension seep from her shoulders. The twins giggled from their playpen, blissfully unaware of the storm that had passed. For now, the family was whole. For now, they were safe. That night, as they finally rested, a hidden camera in the warehouse blinked silently. A distorted voice whispered into a speaker, "You may have won this battle, Ethan, but the war is far from over." The shadows moved, hinting that some secrets and enemies would not be so easily defeated. Ethan stood at the edge of the cliff overlooking the ocean, the night breeze tugging at his hair, carrying the scent of salt and freedom. For years, he had been a prisoner of fear, deceit, and the demands of an empire that had shaped him into someone he barely recognized. Now, standing here, he felt a shift, a momentary clarity. Maya and the twins were safe. His choices had been tested, and he had emerged not unscathed, but stronger. Beside him, Maya's hand slid into his, warm and grounding. The twins slept peacefully in the car, unaware of the tension that had dominated the last months. Her brown eyes met his, steady, searching, forgiving, yet cautious. "I never thought we'd get here," she whispered, voice soft but full of weight. Her fingers squeezed his hand. "But we did." Ethan turned to her, the shadows of past betrayals and dangers finally receding, leaving only raw emotion and hard-earned gratitude. "You are my salvation, Maya," he murmured. "You and the boys. Nothing else matters." The following days were filled with a careful rebuilding of life. The flower shop became a hub of laughter and creativity once again, with Maya finding solace in arranging blooms, infusing each one with a renewed sense of hope. Ethan dedicated himself to simplifying his empire, cutting ties with corrupt allies, and focusing on what mattered most: family, love, and the future he had fought to secure. The twins' curiosity blossomed under the attentive guidance of their parents. Aiden's boldness, once tempered by fear, now found safe outlets in playful adventures along the beach. Liam's gentle nature thrived in the warmth of maternal guidance, his laughter echoing like music over the waves. Each smile and each hug reinforced Ethan's resolve. Every moment spent with them was a reclamation of lost time. Maya allowed herself small pleasures she had long denied: painting under the sun, sketching in quiet cafes, laughing without the weight of constant fear. Ethan joined her, often silently, offering companionship, support, and a presence that spoke louder than words ever could. They found a rhythm together, a delicate dance of trust, care, and the rekindling of passion. Late nights brought quiet confessions under starlit skies, whispered dreams for a future finally theirs to shape. The scars remained. Moments of doubt crept in, shadows of old threats lingering in fleeting flashes of memory. Yet together they confronted each fear, acknowledging it, understanding it, and ultimately letting it go. Ethan worked tirelessly to secure the twins' future. He established a trust fund, ensuring their financial safety, and drafted letters of apology to Maya, words he had never sent before. He read them aloud to her one evening, the sincerity in his voice breaking the final walls of hesitation she had built. "I never stopped loving you," he confessed, voice firm, eyes unwavering. "Even when I failed you, even when I let my father dictate my choices, even then, you were the only one who mattered." Maya's hands trembled as she took his face in her palms. Tears streaked her cheeks, a mixture of relief, gratitude, and unspoken love. "I believed in us, Ethan," she said softly. "I never stopped hoping." Their reunion was tender, deliberate, and full of the slow-burning chemistry that had always defined them. Every touch, every glance, every whispered word carried the weight of years lost and the promise of years regained. They planned their lives together, balancing responsibility with desire, parenthood with romance, and past wounds with present healing. Ethan often marveled at the boys, watching them explore, learn, and grow. He saw pieces of himself and Maya reflected in their eyes, their laughter, their personalities. Aiden's boldness reminded him of his own courage, tempered now by experience. Liam's gentleness mirrored the love he had fought so hard to reclaim. The village, once quiet and serene, now echoed with the vibrancy of life restored. Neighbors noticed the couple's transformation, the way they moved together, the way the family laughed, the warmth radiating from their home. Maya's flower shop flourished, becoming a symbol of resilience and beauty. Ethan's business became a quieter enterprise, focused on ethics, stability, and the kind of success that no longer demanded moral compromise. Nights were spent walking along the beach, the twins chasing fireflies, the waves breaking gently at their feet. Ethan and Maya shared stolen kisses, whispered promises, and plans for a life that would remain uninterrupted by outside shadows. Every day felt like a victory, every moment a reclamation of what had been almost lost. Yet, even in moments of perfection, vigilance lingered. Ethan's experience with Adrian and past enemies taught him that peace was fragile, that darkness could return unbidden. But rather than fear, he now faced it with preparation and confidence. He had rebuilt not only his family, but his own character, his own understanding of what it meant to love, to protect, and to fight. Maya embraced this new rhythm, balancing her instincts for protection with trust in Ethan and the strength they drew from one another. She allowed herself to dream, to hope, to believe that love, even when tested by betrayal and danger, could endure and flourish. Together they created a home filled with laughter, love, and security. The twins thrived in this environment, learning trust, joy, and compassion. Every night, as Ethan tucked them into bed, he felt a sense of completion he had never known before. Every bedtime story, every gentle kiss on the forehead, every whispered goodnight reaffirmed the life he had fought to preserve. One evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky with fiery oranges and soft purples, Ethan knelt before Maya. In his hand was a simple ring, elegant yet unpretentious. A symbol of a love that had survived storms, both literal and metaphorical. "I want us to be forever," he said, voice raw with emotion. "Not just in moments of safety or peace, but in every heartbeat, every struggle, every triumph. Will you marry me?" Maya's eyes shimmered with tears of joy, the culmination of years of pain, hope, and relentless love. "Yes," she whispered, her voice breaking, her heart full. "Yes, Ethan. Forever." The kiss they shared was gentle yet consuming, sealing not just an engagement but a promise, an unbreakable bond forged through trials, betrayal, redemption, and unwavering love. The family walked along the shore as the tide rolled in, the ocean's rhythm matching the beat of their hearts. The past, with its shadows, felt distant. The present, with its warmth and certainty, enveloped them completely. The future, uncertain yet promising, stretched before them like the endless horizon. Ethan held Maya's hand tightly, the twins running ahead, their laughter mingling with the ocean breeze. He whispered softly into her ear, words of devotion, gratitude, and hope. "You were never a mistake. You were my salvation, my everything." Maya smiled, leaning into him, letting the waves of love, relief, and joy wash over her. The scars remained, but they were marks of survival, of endurance, and of a love that had been tested and proven unbreakable. As the sun set, painting the world in hues of gold and crimson, a lone figure watched from the distant cliffs, hidden in shadow. Silent, still, and patient, the observer whispered into the wind, "Enjoy your peace, for now." A faint shiver ran through the family, though none could see the shadow watching, hinting that some secrets, some threats, may never truly disappear.